fortunately, we are in an environment today, Siddharth, where there is no dearth of capital. Great founders, great ideas get funded. My message to founder is that be very, very selective and be very, very critical of the choice of investor that you have early stage, right? Example of Bharat Pay again succeeded because the kind of investors he had behind him at the early stage of investment were all very, very cordial and very, very supportive. I've seen businesses actually losing a lot of ground and value because the choice of investors have been horrible. So it's not the money which is only important, right? It is very, very important that from which account the money is also coming in. Be very sure it's not a transactional relationship. It's a relationship that will kind of continue with you forever, for the life that you are there with the startup as a founder.
This is Siddharth Ahluwalia. Welcome to the 100x Entrepreneur Podcast. This episode is brought to you by Prime Venture Partners, an early stage VC fund led by Amit Somani, Shripati Acharya and Sanjay Swami. Prime is often the first institutional investor in category creating tech startups in fintech, SaaS, healthcare and education such as MoneyTap, Happy, Mfine. To know more about Prime, visit primevp.in.
Today we have with us Mitesh Shah. Mitesh is the co-founder of Inflection Point Ventures. Welcome, Mitesh, to the podcast.
Thank you, Siddharth. Great to be here. Lovely to be in on this podcast and good to be in your company.
Mitesh began his career with Mandhana Industries Limited, an apparel manufacturing company in 2001, where he handled various projects, including the company's IPO in 2010 and its exclusive global licensing deal with Salman Khan's Being Human brand in 2011. He joined Ola as CFO in December 2013 and played a pivotal role in the evolution of one of the biggest startup stories of India. Then he came to BookMyShow in 2016 as the head of finance, where he spearheaded finance function and played an active role in strategic business management. In 2018, Mitesh Shah, along with Vinay Bansal, Ankur Mittal, co-founded Inflection Point Ventures. From 283 investors on their platform in 2018, they have over 3,500 investors now who are all CXOs in different companies. So Mitesh, would love to know you what made you shift to venture capital from being a traditional CFO. Right, CFOs are more risk averse in their nature.
No, very well put, Siddharth. I think that's the general notion. But if you look at the recent breed of CFOs and all, I think there has been a tremendous shift, right? I think the community as a whole, CFOs have realized that. I think where you try to kind of protect that, 1x downside, there is greater merit in actually trying to capture the 20x upside, right? And that's how, there is a way to look at every potential idea. That's what I've learned, in my career, working with three of the topmost consumer brands, starting with Being Human and then Ola and then BookMyShow. I've been fortunate enough to work with two of the topmost digital consumer brands, Ola and BookMyShow. My fascination or penchant for startup investment or mentoring started with my Ola days. My first investment I did somewhere around 2015, right when I funded a company which was founded by one of my ex-colleagues from Mandhana, a peer-to-peer lending company called Lending Club. The idea was that I was working on a digital startup, Ola, and looked at new ways of doing business. I think we started again when I joined. Ola was a very small company. We were about 150 in size, present across only 3 cities, right? Running only 2 categories of cabs also. And as we grew across 11 different categories, even beyond mobility, to finance, to fleet technology, to food servicing, food tech and a lot of other things. So the way Ola changed, I got a fair bit of insight into startup world and digital world, where, founders will have certain sort of ideas, their strengths and all. I think they need something more than capital. And that's where I think kind of I love the space. I thought there can be a lot more that I can contribute to the growth of these startups and founders beyond capital, right? And that's how my journey as angel investor started, and that's what always intrigued me. Even when we started Inflection Point Venture, me, Vinay, Ankur, and few of us, the idea was that while there is capital available in the market, but there is dearth of smart capital in the market. By smart capital, I mean founder at his place needs early stage investors to be on his side of the table rather than on the opposite side of the table and asking him about questions around कब grow कर रहे हो, कब next round होगा, कब exit मिलेगी. This is a breed of founders where you're catching them young. They need your support, and they need your support something more than plain simple mentoring. Mentoring probably to me is a very abused word in India. People say we are mentored to a particular startup, but it's just about plain simple words. What a true mentor needs to do is not only put his skin in the game in the form of capital, but also help the startup open a lot of doors. Today, Inflection Point Venture, as a group of top-notch CXO in the country that we are able to open doors across any sector, any industry, any company within less than an hour, and that's the strength of the group. With this able, investor base, pedigreed investor base, we are able to curate also great ideas, and that's what founders and investors both love about this. So that's my journey as angel investor. For me, this means something more than investment. In fact, a lot more than investment. I think it's that passion of creating successful businesses or helping founders to create successful businesses that keeps me driven.
And also, can you share the structure or the platform of Inflection Point Ventures, how it operates?
Yeah, sure. So, like I said, Inflection Point Venture founded in late 2018 by a few of us. It's a platform which has investors on one hand and has the founders on the other hand. Every month we look at close to 200 startup ideas. Understand them, meet the founders, meet the market sources, try and understand the space in detail, and finally choose a handful of ideas out of this to be presented to our investors, 3,500 plus investors who are spread across 21 plus different countries of the world. So present to them through founder pitch calls, on a Saturday morning over Zoom call. The ideas get pitched to the investors. We get a very structured feedback from the investors on the potential of the idea, on the potential of the founding team. On top of that, with our experience and with the subject matter experts who are typically part of our group itself, we do a thorough due diligence and analysis of the startup idea, including various aspects of the business, market size, demand situation, supply situation, unit economics, competitive landscape, funding structure, and a lot of other things. And then finally, we decide to invest into the startup and pass the call to our investors, who then invest into this particular startup. So we handle end to end. The process is, it starts from the time we meet the startup. It starts with shortlisting of the startup to be presented to the investors based on which is the pre-investment phase. Then there is investment phase where we do the thorough due diligence. We understand the idea. We meet with the founding team and lot many other stakeholders in the ecosystem. Finally, do the term sheet and SHA negotiation and sign up for the investment. So this is the investment phase, and the most important and critical aspect that we focus the most at Inflection Point Venture is the post-investment phase. I believe that's where a lot of the other early stage players actually get it wrong. For them, the process is only pre-investment and investment. Very, very often post-investment is completely neglected, thinking that investment is a transaction-based approach. You invest into a particular startup, and then I think it's up to the founder to utilize your funding and grow. I think he needs you the most in this phase actually, where through our ecosystem, through our connect with the VCs, through our connect with other partners in the ecosystem, we help the founder to grow his business. Look, founder at early stage probably will be a great tech guy, a great product guy, a great business development guy. He will not be an all-round CEO. That's where I think CXOs like us or platform like us come into picture, and we make sure that we train him and we provide him enough education around various aspects of the business which makes him successful, right? So we have a full-fledged expert network to help the startup founder across various domains, including PR, including IR, including corporate governance, legal, fundraising, operations, business development, corporate development, a lot of these things, right? And that's where we kind of fill in that gap into not only the founder himself, but in the founding team also. We also help them hire good resources, set up their business model, guide them in terms of the correct business strategy, and that's where the result comes. So where at the early stage, you see normally in the industry, the mortality rate is 85% plus, 90% plus. Out of 10 startups that you invest, 8 of them are expected to die, and it's the balance to which can kind of carry the weight or the burden of returning the capital for the first 8 as well. In our case, with all this due diligence and with all this support and all, the mortality rate comes down significantly lower. And that's what we have proven with our portfolio of 70 investing companies so far. And it keeps growing every month.
Mitesh, tell us about your investment in BharatPe. How did you meet Ashneer very early? And how did the current exit happen? And what was the exit for IPV there?
So very interesting topic and nostalgic. Ashneer and my friendship goes back to actually days when I was CFO with Ola and Ashneer was with American Express Bank. We have been interacting with each other ever since then. And then he joined Grofers as CFO. I joined Book My Show. He moved out of Grofers as well. And then it was, we were the part of the founding team at IPV as well, where Ashneer was also one of the few believers early on, worked with us. That's when actually he came up with this thought of doing something in the fintech space by leveraging on the strength of the QR code, delivering a ubiquitous QR code which can kind of help customer to use any payment system, UPI more so at the back end, and pay through any other wallet or any other player. That was the idea for me. Ashneer came, pitched the idea. It was a very simple conviction for me. Two things only, right? One, obviously Ashneer as a founder, a great guy, have known him for long, and that's one of the theses that we at IPV also follow always, is that invest in great founders. I think businesses will keep pivoting. There'll be external tailwinds or headwinds. It's up to the founder how dynamic he is in terms of either capitalizing on the tailwinds or kind of making his business risk proof from the headwinds that he faces. And Ashneer was one such guy that I had kind of blind faith in, having worked with him or having known him for long. The other co-founders also were I met them and I got that confidence. Second was the fintech sector. I think fintech as a sector, we have seen a lot of trends in the early stage ecosystem, right? There have been days of health tech being the blue-eyed boy of the investors. Then came edutech, insurtech, SaaS, and I think sectors have had their fair share of rally, and then finally kind of to a certain extent it subsides or kind of normalizes. Fintech, along with health tech, probably are the only two sectors which never loses investors' fancy. And I firmly believe that the way we have grown in terms of the fintech infrastructure also in the country, we started only as a bunch of public sector banks till maybe early 90s. Then came private sector banks. Then came wallets. Then came payment banks. Then came small finance banks. Today we are talking about neobanks. Today we are talking about peer-to-peer lending platforms. Today we are talking about online gold loans and whatnot, right? The entire landscape has completely changed. But yet every day you hear of a new innovation. Every day you hear of a new player coming into the market with some additional offering or some diverse offering. So that is very exciting for me when I talk about fintech. Personally, very bullish about it and have done a lot of investment in this space in my individual capacity as well as at IPV. So these were the two things that kind of got me interested, and finally, wrote the check. And it was, like I said, more belief in the founding team and Ashneer. Very, very glad the way the business progressed. I mean, I always used to keep telling Ashneer that I will exit the day that you will exit. I have firm belief about the business. I feel almost like a co-founder, have worked with him early stage during the initial days of BharatPe. But that's the sort of belief that I shared. I mean, I was just joking with somebody that if somebody tell me that there is one thing that you can change in the past, I said I'll change the amount that I invested in BharatPe the day when I wrote the check. And maybe add a couple of more zeros around it. But yeah, I mean, that's the benefit of hindsight. Jokes apart, it's the satisfaction of, I think, backing the right founder, the right story, and again, a validation of, that it's ultimately about the founding teams and sectors. If you do things right, Ashneer was very, very clear. I think it's not about monetization early stage. It's about how you grow the business. It's about how you disrupt and challenge the legacy thinking. And that's where the growth will come from. And he delivered on those phases. So I think he's like a role model for CFOs like us. He himself was CFO with Grofer, and today he's the one of the unicorns in the country, the founder of a unicorn company. So great role model, not only for CFOs like us, but for the founder community in general.
So at what we all know, the valuation of BharatPe right now is 900 million, I think, 9 or 1 million. But at what valuation you entered it into BharatPe?
I think you will be smart enough in maths yourself. As we all know, has been discussed about in the media, it's an 80x return. So remove the dilution impact and all. I'm not sure if I'm free to divulge the details of the investment, the price at which I entered, but the only thing that I can say is it was any other seed stage round that you will not blink your eye to kind of invest in that idea, provided you have belief in the founder. We do come across a lot of such early stage idea every day in our life. A lot of them we don't take seriously, right? I think it's that ability to identify that one winner, right? And nobody can get it 100% right always. I think there is always some amount of belief and faith that I always believe that apart from everything else that you do when it comes to early stage investment, one big factor that always keeps you in the hunt or helps you kind of separate men from boys is that faith and belief. Your instinct at the end of the day has to be trained over a period of time, which will give you that insight that this is the guy probably who can deliver. Return X may vary, right? You cannot always expect 80X, but it's the growth of the business idea and it's the adoption of that idea that kind of gives you satisfaction.
So Ashneer shared on one media outlet, that the first round valuation was like post money $3 million. So I think it's the size of the exit, right? If we don't consider dilution, is 300 times. Obviously, with dilution coming in, is 80 to 90x.
Well, you've heard from the horse's mouth, yeah. So
80 to 90x. So was IPV the only seed investor, or there were other seed investors also in that round?
No, there were other seed investors as well on the round. I think he was looking to raise close to about $1 million plus. So apart from IPV, there were other seed investors also in the round. But like I said, it was a very few chosen investor base, right? And because of our association with him, we were IPV was kind of one of the few chosen ones initially, and that's how we ended up investing in BharatPe. I mean, today obviously it's a proven story. Everybody knows that it's a unicorn, and everybody knows the strength of it. Think of it 2.5 years ago when, like I said, I'm just reiterating myself that it's that belief in that founder at that point of time, where the idea that he came up with, there was no plan for monetization. There was no plan how the growth will actually come from, but it was something that we knew that he was working on a very strong technological product. He was working with a full understanding of the market landscape, and that was most important thing at that point of time. So yes, I think apart from IPV, there were other investors also, but at IPV, we were very, very bullish about it.
Got it. And what have been the other exits for IPV till now?
Well, there have been about 5 exits. I again cannot talk about with names because of the embargo in terms of the acquirers actually have not gone public, and few of them are very large entities. Have several legislations or regulations on them. So wouldn't take name, but we invested in a sports tech esports company which got acquired by a large player in the similar domain. We invested in a fitness tech company which got acquired by a large player, a food tech player, right? We invested in an early stage fintech platform which got acquired by another large media conglomerate at that point of time. And like that, there have been another 2 or 3 exits. So in a short duration of 2 years, Siddharth, out of the 70 investment that we have done, if you take aside 30 investments that have been done in last 7 to 8 months, because the funding has just gone and the founder will start deploying the money now, and you'll see the result now. Of the balance 40, if you were to consider, or 35, if you were to consider, we already managed to secure 5 exits, and we have managed to secure 12 plus follow-on rounds for some of these entities, and with at least not less than another 8 in the pipeline in the form of exits or follow-on rounds. I think this is a portfolio which is enviable. Like I said, where the early stage mortality rate is 85%, 90% plus. Here we are talking about a mortality rate of less than 40%, less than 30%, in fact, right? So even those who have not gone for follow-on round of funding, the founders have proven themselves by weathering the storm, even in the difficult times of COVID, right? So we haven't had any mortality yet in terms of the overall portfolio, barring 2, which also are kind of we are supporting, and will make sure that the founders do not really bear the brunt of a natural calamity. But otherwise, that's the belief, or that's the validation of the process that we deploy in terms of choosing the entities that we invest in.
Got it. And tell us about the other companies which have gone large, right? Where you're still a shareholder, right? What are the other large companies from the portfolio except BharatPe?
Well, quite a few of them. To begin with, we have Fable in the health tech. which got funded by Manipal Group, TPG. We got Touch, which is an artificial intelligence ML based platform. Works with almost all the large content players and even media players supporting sports and all that have grown leaps and bounds. Very soon you'll hear some stories, some big news about them. And likewise, a lot of other players. There have been players on the SaaS platform. There have been players on the virtual tech platform. Again, given the sensitive nature of information or at various stages of deal making that they are, won't be really comfortable in sharing names. But like I said, there have been 12 follow-on rounds and 5 exits. So almost all of them have been at very good stage, and a few recent investment which are big. We have invested into OTP earlier, erstwhile ProFarm, which is growing really well. Probably one of the smartest founders that we know or we have come across. Platform growing very, very well. Consumers are really happy with that platform. And likewise, we have always believed in great founders. So BlueSmart on the EV space, mobility space, the space is just exploding. So some great results over there as well. Nikki.ai. We have one unique thing about the platform, Siddharth, is that while early stage has been our bread and butter and we believe in catching founders young, our belief is that, catch them at any point of time and invest into great founders, building great businesses and delivering at great valuations. So as long as these three parameters are kind of met, we are not even averse to taking some late stage bets as well. We have invested into Milkbasket, we are invested into BlueSmart, we are invested into Nikki.ai, we are invested into Helo5. So these are some of the bets where we believe in the founder, we believe in the vision, and we feel that even late stage, it's not a never too late to kind of enter when there is still a lot of upside left.
And what is the average check size, across both early and late stages from IPV with combined?
Great question, Siddharth. So we have a very wide range depending on the stage of the startup, depending on the funding requirements of the founder. We have cut checks from 100K up to $2 million, right? And that's the range that we have seen. So depending on, there are horses for courses, depending on the stage of the platform, this is the range within which we have funded with our investors, and investors are always excited about great ideas, have always supported our vision and our belief in our due diligence, and backed our plan. So this is the range. On an average, we do a funding of per startup. If you were to see, the funding will be close to about $500,000.
Got it. And this funding, the currently the individual angels come on the cap table from the IPV network, which.
That's correct. So, again, it depends, Siddharth, on the size of the startup, on the size of the cap table, how crowded it is already, or how many numbers there are already there on the cap table. We work with the founder closely and provide for the solution. Idea is that while the individual investors will come on the cap table of the entity as of now, and very soon we are launching our Angel AIF as well. Stay tuned for announcement on that front as well once we have something formal to announce. But today, when the individual investor invests on the cap table of the company, I think the larger pain point for founder is to actually look at follow-on actions in terms of all the other regulations or signing or the documentation or statutory requirements that he has to get signed off from investors. So we work like a fund structure in the sense that the founder has to deal with only one lead at IPV. And that's what they love the most about us, that for them, it's actually like working with a fund only, where the entire phases, pre-investment, investment, and post-investment, there is a lead and co-lead team within the IPV ecosystem, like it will be me or Vinay or Ankur and one of our analysts that will handle them throughout the journey of the startup, right? And for any critical decision, they need not reach out to 50 or 70 or 80, whatever number of investors on the cap table. It's only one shout out to us and we will arrange for everything. There'll be only one signature that the founder will require as far as his corporate actions are concerned. So they have this complete relief that they are dealing with somebody like a fund, and they don't need to kind of actually go and communicate their message even at the pre-investment. We've seen that with a lot of other platforms, that for a small fundraise also the founder has to go and pitch his story to different investors at different point of time. Now, at a stage when he should be focusing on his building business and building his tech and product and platform, the founder actually wastes a lot of time in pitching the same story, playing like a record in front of different investors. Here we kind of make sure that founders' efforts are not wasted. From the time he meets us to the time he actually kind of gets the check from us, there is only a structured amount of time that we take from the founder in terms of understanding the business and doing our due diligence. And that's after also in the post-investment phase, we work very closely with him and save him from the efforts or from the time wasted in terms of running behind number of investors.
And what have been the biggest challenge in the last 2 years running IPV?
Well, there has been no challenge, absolutely. I think maybe I'm not feeling it because of the passion for it. But I will not say it challenge, I will say it learning every day, right? The way we got moved from, you said, at the beginning of the introduction, from 200 investors to 3,500 investors, it has been learning every day. It's very important. And one self-realization that we had is that, at early stage, from the investor perspective, never invest out of FOMO. Any investor that comes on IPV platform, we categorically tell him that this is by far the most active form of investment. If you cannot spend time in understanding the ecosystem or working with the founder to help him, probably startup investments are not for you. You should actually be investing in public market where you will have access to information every quarter and everything will be transparent. Here, the idea is that information will be closely guarded and you have to work with the founder to kind of have access to that information, right? So do not invest out of FOMO because my friend has invested in BharatPe and he's made 80x. That's not the reason for you to start startup investment, right? You have to gauge your own risk appetite and more importantly, your own ability to learn. This is a platform where we actually have investors come just spend time with us for the first 6 months to 12 months without actually pressurizing them for investment. You're not forced to make any investment. You can be on the platform. Idea is that learn. Awareness is the most important thing. So one critical thing that we do is, apart from having these investor calls and founder calls and every other pitch calls, every Saturday or every periodically, we have our masterclasses as well, where we educate investors or even founders about the nuances of early stage investment and building great businesses. And that has been the focus. Probably that's what, the CXO base or the corporate professionals love about us. And even now businesses and family offices. Even VCs actually like to work with IPV investee companies because they know that great amount of curation, validation has already happened with these companies. And they have been built in a way where it's not about having a theme running today and getting popular. It's about building a sustainable business which can kind of sustain any storm in the market, right? I believe Ashish, BookMyShow founder, always keeps saying that we are like cockroach which can sustain in any sort of environment.
Great to know. Thank you so much, Mitesh, for sharing your journey of building IPV, and you have seen some great successes like BharatPe, and wish IPV all the best. To more large exits like BharatPe.
Thank you, Siddharth. I think that's been the motto. Work with founders, build great businesses. I think exits will follow automatically. Fortunately, we are in an environment today, Siddharth, where there is no dearth of capital. Great founders, great ideas get funded. My message to founder is that be very, very selective and be very, very critical of the choice of investor that you have early stage, right? Example of BharatPe again succeeded because the kind of investors he had behind him at the early stage of investment were all very, very cordial and very, very supportive. I've seen businesses actually losing a lot of ground and value because the choice of investors have been horrible. So it's not the money which is only important, right? It is very, very important that from which account the money is also coming in. And that's where I think, platforms like Inflection Point Ventures become very, very handy and helpful. So I think that's my message to the founders, that while capital is available, be very sure it's not a transactional relationship. It's a relationship that will kind of continue with you forever, for the life that you are there with the startup as a founder.
Thank you so much, Mitesh, for being on the 100x Entrepreneur podcast. It's been a pleasure hosting you.
Thanks, Siddharth. Thanks for moderating it so well. Thank you.